Well, gents, there's also a quarterback competition in East Lansing, where redshirt sophomore Peyton Thorne and grad transfer Anthony Russo are the top two candidates. Thorne played in 5 games for Mel Tucker last season, completing just under 56% of his passes. Russo started 26 of the 31 games he played during his time at Temple, throwing 44 touchdowns and 32 picks along the way. Whoever gets the nod will have plenty of work to do. The 18 points per game Michigan State scored last season marked its worst number in that category since 2000, while the 91 rush yards per game was the worst average in school history. Dating back to the 2019 season, MSU has been held under 30 points in 11 straight games. Dave Revson with the man in charge of erasing all those numbers.
Very pleased now to be joined by the second-year coach of Michigan State, Mel Tucker. Coach, let's start with this. What did you learn about your program in year one?
I'll tell you what, I learned that this team, they want to be good, and they're resilient, and they love football, and they just need to be coached, and we have a great staff, great teachers, motivators, developers, great strength and conditioning, great nutrition. The kids are really bought in, and they're willing to put the work in.
So where have you made the biggest strides here as you head into the second year?
Really just knowing what to do, and connecting with our players. We've had time to get to know each other, develop our culture, cement our culture. We had a great off season. Our strength and conditioning has been outstanding. Guys are bigger, faster, stronger, they're more confident. But we really, really know more about what's expected.
Let's talk about the quarterback position. Always gets a lot of attention. You clearly have a battle going on here in camp with Peyton Thorne and Anthony Russo. How would you kind of evaluate where that battle is right now?
Yeah, it's an open competition. It's a healthy competition. I believe your quarterback has to be your number one competitor, and I see that out there. They're making each other better, and it's just great to see. We're gonna need them both. Actually, we're going to need all of our guys to be ready to play. We need depth at each position. We need competition at each position, and that's how we're going to get better as a team.
Coach, run game was an issue last year. The running back position looked vastly improved. I got to say, Kenneth Walker really stood out. Impressive young player.
Yeah, he's a very good player. I'm glad we have him. We're much improved at that position, and we have competition there, and we have depth. And so that with the offensive line improving, bigger, faster, stronger, healthier, more depth. The tight end position, we have more depth. Our receivers are blocking better. That should help us be more productive in the run game.
Ultimately, how will you measure success with this group this year?
Well, our goal is to win every game on our schedule. And so we're going to take it one game at a time. How we measure success is being the best that we can be, reaching our full potential, get the most that we can get out of this group of players, day in and day out, week in and week out, and we'll add it up at the end. We'll see.
Mel Tucker, pleasure to visit with you. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Yeah, thank you so much. Go Green.
Well, here are the numbers comparing last year's defensive performance to the previous 3. After ranking among the nation's top 16 in nearly every major defensive category from 2017 through 2019, MSU fell outside the top 30 in all but one of those same categories last season. Howard Griffith and Joshua Perry have more.
Howard, we just finished up at Michigan State's practice, and one of the things that was on the top of my mind was that tempo on the defensive side. And obviously, Mel Tucker, being a defensive guy, is going to want to get that group together. But you could just see every single rep, it was always finishing on the ball. Every single rep, it was always, can you get a punch at the ball? Can you rake it out? If there's a ball on the ground, there was a defender that was expected to pick it up, which is awesome. But then you started to see the players really buy into it. We had Xavier Henderson over here, and he was talking about his leadership. But that leadership, that communication, is really showing through. And I think for a group right now that's really trying to hit its growth, it's very important to see that.
Well, I think when you talk about the enthusiasm that they had out there, a big part of that is taking the football away, and rallying to the ball is the way of making those things happen and creating turnovers, giving the offense an easy way to get some points on the board. It's going to be tough, right? But they can go out and play at a high level. There's nothing, it doesn't take much for effort, right?
Yeah.
It's just maximum effort all the time.
Well, that's the deal. It's the effort and the toughness aspect that's probably going to get this group through when you really look at it. And they've got some guys who I think are going to be really, really good. They've got a couple young guys up front that were impressive. In the back end, they've got some young guys probably still got to, fill out their frames, get better. But the toughness, the hustle, the effort was all there.
Yeah, we talk about having Harlan Barnett in that secondary and also Mel Tucker, who's going to be coaching those corners as well. You know, they're going to really get it together and come through and form. It's just going to take a little time for some of the younger people to be able to step up and be ready to go.
Pleased to be joined by the outstanding defensive back, Xavier Henderson. Give us a little bit of a sense of these first few days of camp.
The first few days have been real exciting, very fun. Just to get back out there, running around, getting these pads on, getting them popping a little bit, and just kind of getting all together and not like a offense-defense lift setting. We get to spend time with each other, so that's been fun.
Yeah, definitely, and that goes back to last year where you really couldn't spend time around each other, and it was a strange transition, obviously, with Mel Tucker coming in, and you had your first regular offseason this past offseason, so how did that go?
Oh, you can tell for sure that it's played a huge impact just in the start of fall camp. Not only with the new schemes and defense, offense that we got, special teams, but also just the way Coach Tuck practices, you know, just the way you guys saw how he conducts practices, almost NFL style, and trying to keep dudes up, keep dudes safe, and it's important that, especially with all these new people we got now, that people that have been here before kind of showed them the way.
And it seems like at practice, obviously, talk about keeping dudes up, but it was very physical. The tempo was up. The coaches are all yelling and screaming. Is that forming some sort of identity for your team right now?
Yeah, definitely. So they always say a player-led team's better than a coach-led team, but the coaches are going to get after it as you guys saw. So it's important that we kind of take examples from them, and the coaches are doing their best, but it's also little things that the players can help the other players out with.
And specifically for you, I saw you doing a ton of communicating out there, and your game goes up into kind of the box where the linebackers are at, all the way out into the defensive backfield, covering that deep part of the field.
Yeah.
How does that versatility really play into the defense that you're running?
With Coach Hazelton's new defense, my versatility is helping a lot. The defense brought the versatility out of me, I would say, and it's been really fun to play, and we got dudes flying around all over the ball that can make plays. A lot of dudes are real versatile, and we're going to get running sideways to sideways.
I'll get you out of here on this one. From this point right here in camp up until your first game, what's the biggest thing you have to see in terms of growth from this team?
I think more leadership out of me, more leadership out of other guys. We need to hold each other to a higher standard. We need to compete a little bit better, and we'll be fine heading into the season.
Definitely appreciate your time.
So thank you.
Happy to be joined by Connor Hayward. How are you doing? Making a little switch from as far as positions are concerned. How's that going for camp?
I'm doing well. We made the switch a couple days ago. We slowly have, talked about this, and it's been a process, and eventually we just did it, and I'm happy that we did. I think it's going to help the team, and hopefully it helps me for the next level.
How much pride do you take in your game, being able to do so many things?
I take a lot of pride in it, being able to catch the ball, block, and, being able to run the ball at a high level. I take that very seriously, and, the more stuff you're able to do, the better.
Describe this camp and, how the coaching style has come to you as far as that's concerned.
It's been a grind. Every camp's going to be a grind, though. Taking it day by day, just embracing it, though. Being an older guy, I feel like I have to lead, and I want to lead. And, the younger guys are out there pushing us, and, vice versa. Everybody's getting better every day, and we're just excited about this year.
The running back room is really talented room, and I know you're moving around a little bit, but talk about them a little bit.
I'll start with Ken. Ken Walker, explosive. He can home run anytime he touches the ball. Elijah's looking like his old self. He had COVID last year, tough year. But them two, they're going to be great. They're going to do what they do. And then Jordan Simmons had a big year last year. Obviously, he got hurt a couple games. But having him healthy will help. And then having the addition of Harold. Harold 6'4", running back. You don't really see that all the time. But, you can see just how they push each other. And also Donovan England. The whole running back room is pushing each other. And when I was in there, I was pushing them. They were pushing me. And, I think whenever somebody needs a blow, the next person is going to get in there and do their thing. And, Coach Tuck always talks about having a stable of running backs. A good team always has 4 or 5 backs. You look at Georgia, Ohio State, they might not play them, but all of them are ready, and, they prepare like they're the starter.
Connor, thanks for joining me. Have a great year and stay healthy.
Thank you.
We're here visiting with Ron Burton, coach of the defensive line at Michigan State. Coach, spring practice, you were thin at linebacker. Other than that, your depth seemed to be fine. But we talked about the newcomers, whether it's a transfer portal, a true freshman. Tell us about the linebacker depth and maybe some of the guys that have showed up that weren't here in the spring that have been impressive.
Well, just to start off, that group was some veteran guys that we had, Noah Harvey, Chase Klein, in the beginning of the spring. Since the spring has ended, summertime has started. Alex Van Sumeren and Mr. Crouch have come in and really contributed at that level and really put us in a position that we created some competition, and that's what the game is all about. And those two guys have been kind of the center point of being able to get better, and we have improved in that because we need to space guys that can cover, and also be able to blitz. And those two guys, Van Sumeren and Crouch, have done a great job at adding to the depth that was needed at that position.
Last year, an abbreviated season, your spring practice was canceled right before it was supposed to start. You installed a new defense. This is the second year in Coach Tucker's defense. How is having a spring practice and a full cycle help teaching it?
Well, I mean, light years. I mean, number one, being able to repeat it, understanding a little bit more of what it's all about. Again, defense is knowing where your help is, getting consistent and understanding the why of the defense, and then being unconsciously competent in what we're doing. Those guys have picked it up, and we're in the next level of it and understanding what Coach Hayes and Coach Tucker want us to do in this attacking defense.
I believe you have a different perspective on the Michigan State program. You're going into your 9th year. You've coached some of the better teams Michigan State has had in recent history. Tell the fans what the personality of Mel Tucker team's like. What's his style? Give us some inside information, if you will, on Coach Tucker.
His style, number one, it is high energy. It's the understanding what it is all about, being an example of what he's looking for, gaining ground even as a head coach, being relentless in all the little details and getting where you need to go. And that starts from the meeting room out to the field. So it's that way all the time. I think the consistency in being of what the kids are looking for at this level, from the Instagram to the Twitter, and being able to feed that to the fans, but also understand the grounding points of what it's all about to build a football team, and being an example because he's won 2 national championships. So he has great pedigree, but more importantly, he's in tune with the kids of today.
Well, we're all anxious to see Coach Tucker's second team and wish you great luck and appreciate your time.
Well, thank you. Go Green.